All right, we're live.
All right. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, we're here.
Happy November.
Yeah, remember the 3rd of November? I
3rd of November.
think
Yep.
that's how that goes. Yeah.
November 5th, I'm going to be at the Day of the Devs event in San Francisco,
Oh, okay.
hosted by Double Fine and I Am 8-Bit.
Sure.
And play some upcoming games.
Yeah, great.
Trying to think what's there that I'm excited for. Thirsty Suitors. I'm looking
Oh,
forward to playing
yeah.
some of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Rain Hail Downpour is going to be there.
Okay.
Uh, Oxenfree 2.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Looking forward to playing that one. So yeah, should be a fun time.
Nice.
How was your Halloween? Did you do anything?
I worked on Halloween, but the weekend before, I mean, just watching horror movies, playing horror games, which we'll talk about at some point during this show. And
Okay.
yeah, no, it's been very, very good. Very cool last few days of horror type stuff. Did you do
Right on. I
anything?
went the like rich neighborhood in town. They often close down the street because there's one specific street that like goes pretty crazy for decorations, and they've been off the last couple of years, obviously.
Yeah.
So I was excited to go this year. They were back. However, I feel from my memory, it seemed like less houses were decorated than previous. I wonder if some of the people like moved away who were some of the Halloween fanatics. Um,
Yeah. Or like a bunch of them just were like, you know what? We stopped for like a year or two. Thank God. That was so
I
nice. Let's not do it anymore.
I mean maybe they got like too old and they're like we can't keep doing it.
They're
But I
looking
feel
for
like
an
if you
out.
were going to the like extremes that these houses were doing, it's something that you'll do until you're dead. Like it is
Yeah.
ingrained almost.
Yeah. Sure.
But so yeah, there wasn't as much, but there it was still more than the last couple of years. So it was nice kind of walking amongst the trick or treaters. A lot of Star Wars.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure.
I couldn't tell you specifically which Jedi they were because at some point it's just like yeah, those look like robes, and you do have a lightsaber. You could
Yep.
be anyone.
Sure.
um, Trying to think what else did I see. There was I saw two kids that had kind of like one of those kind of inflatable style, like there is some kind of air pump in there to keep them inflated.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was a toilet that they came out of like the middle seat of it, and then they had fake legs, so it kind of looked like they were sitting on the toilet.
Okay. It's pretty good.
I saw two kids doing that one. Um, and then I think the best costume I saw was somebody was like a washing machine, and even on top there was a basket of dirty laundry.
Okay, that's also pretty good.
That one was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
cute ideas. I like it.
So yeah, that was my Halloween.
Cool.
Um, Anyone dress up at your work?
No.
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 I think my office did like a decorate your desk,
Okay.
which I didn't go in that the week that they had that, but I went in the following week and I didn't see any remains, so I don't think anyone decorated their desk.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Which I'm not really surprised.
Yeah.
We got a question in the chat. Any Among Us costumes? Actually, no, and I thought for sure I would see some Among Us.
Yeah, that seems like an easy layup, right? For the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like we got some Among Us jack-o'-lanterns, so that's definitely cool.
That
But
yeah,
yeah, no
that's actually pretty
kids.
cool. Or
Like I
wait,
would assume at this point, it's like anyone who wants to dress up as like a big M&M, they're just dressing up as an Among Us.
yes. Essentially. Yep.
Like that's the equivalent. But yeah, no, I was trying to see like what were some of the trends, and it was a lot of Star Wars Jedis for sure.
Sure. Seems
Yeah,
easy. Like an easy costume, so why not?
I guess Star Wars is just real popular right now. Like to be
Star
fair,
Wars is so hot right now.
Andor is awesome. Like this is probably my favorite Star Wars anything right now.
Okay.
Andor, and it's making me like need to go back and watch some Rogue One since he's also in that, and I need to be like, I want to see more of your character because I didn't realize you were so cool. But anyone who's not watching Andor should definitely watch Andor. Um, And tomorrow I'm gonna watch that Weird Al movie because that comes out on the Roku channel down here.
Hell yeah. Do you have the Roku
Right.
channel or is it on something else for you?
No, it's the Roku channel. I understand
Okay.
it's free.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping the Xbox has a Roku app that I can just download and get access to it.
You have
Worst
a
comes to
smart TV,
worst.
right?
Well, I do, but I don't use any of the smart features because I have like 8 consoles that have smart features hooked up to it.
At
And
the
they are
very
faster.
least, 100% your TV will have it because that is like on every TV. So at the very least, you have a backup, I think.
I would be shocked if I don't have like 9 different ways of accessing Roku, any streaming service at this point. Like,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch some of that this weekend.
Nice.
What about you? Any weekend plans?
Nah, just relaxing. I still have a lot of games I want to catch up on and get into, so that's probably going to be it.
Man, this November is so packed. Like,
It's stupid.
literally, it's like every second day something else gets announced, and it's like, oh, this is also coming out on the 10th. Fuck.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Yup.
Yeah.
Much.
Also, in this, like, every time I'm reminded of this game, I almost can't believe it exists. In December, there's a new Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Did you remember that?
No, not until right now when you said it.
Exactly, right? Like, I literally remember and forget that like once a week.
Yeah.
The thing seems like it's being kind of just sent out there to die, but I guess I'll see. Hopefully, I get access to it through like the EA Access trial.
We'll see if it even comes
20
out.
hours.
Like, actually, I guess.
I feel like you do not put a release date that close if you don't plan to hit it.
I guess.
Like,
Yeah.
no one's putting out a release date with the idea of like, oh, and we'll definitely like delay it like in less than a month.
Yeah, into January or something.
Like, that's just bad press that you don't need.
Yeah.
All right. It is the Top Down Perspective podcast. That's what you're listening to. It's November 3rd. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
Couple things people should know about before we get into the games is our TDP Plus episode of Splatoon that we recorded last week is up and available through the Patreon. So if you want to hear us deep dive all about that game, definitely go check out the Patreon as well. People voted. The winner is Shovel Knight Dig. That is the game we are playing through November, and we will deep dive on that at the end of November. And if you're a TBP fan, our Halloween special episode we recorded on the weekend, it went out on Halloween. You also get access to that through the Patreon, same price as the Splatoon. So, double dip. You might as well. One price for everything.
True.
We're here to talk about games. Paul, what have you been playing?
I've been catching up on just horror games or whatever. Splatoon 3, I mean,
the scariest.
Yes, we talked about it. That took up a bunch of my time, so like it took me away from some other games that I wanted to play for Halloween. But
that's honestly the scariest part of it.
It's pretty scary, yeah. And I hadn't finished it when we did our talk. So I just wrapped up the last. I think I had like 40 minutes left. Like I was at the end, basically. So I saw the end of that. It was fine. I don't have any thoughts about that I would like want to talk about in depth that we didn't talk about in the TDP Plus anyway. So,
or the TVP episode, yeah,
or the TVP. That's true. But with that out of the way, I finished off Dead Space 2, aka the I part, which is the part everybody remembers from Dead Space 2.
Yeah, it's that, and I remember there's something with like creepy like babies in like a nursery or something.
Yeah, that's that's about halfway through, maybe a little bit less. Like that's pretty early, but
we should also like real quickly say,
yeah,
John's not here this week. He was feeling unwell, so just in case you're wondering why he's being quiet.
Yes.
Anyways, yes, continue.
And then when that was done, a bunch of other stuff came out. Signalis came out, which I played a little bit of. Just a couple days ago, and yeah, that game is super super cool.
Did you like me when I played it at PAX West get stuck about 15 minutes into it and wasn't able to progress?
No, God, no.
Okay, so that's just a me problem.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very curious. I need to load it up again just to see like Was I honestly missing something, or did something in the demo I played just like break and I was actually stuck? Like
Do
I
you
need to
remember
know.
where you got stuck or like what the last thing you could do was or something?
I mean, the demo seemed like it was from the beginning of the game. You like kind of wake up in like a facility and there's a couple creepies walking around.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's not the beginning of the game, but that's
oh,
the
okay.
beginning of the game. There's like a prologue before the like title screen sort of thing. So the part you were playing was probably maybe right after that happens when you're kind of in the main
Okay.
game area.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
but
gonna have to get
okay.
into it, but like I said, there's a million games that have come out in the last like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that game definitely a love letter to RE games. Some Dead Space in there as well. Just overall survival horror feels, and it's super super cool. I can't wait to play more of it. Some interesting mechanics on how they do the lock picking and like their weird hacking game. It's not really hacking. It's like using a radio tuner to like listen to frequencies that give you answers to open up stuff. It's cool. That game is super super cool, and I can't wait to play more of it. The big one though that came out like the day after Signalis came out that I played through obviously was Resident Evil 8 got its DLC. It got its gold version release and its winter's expansion update with the third person, some mercenary stuff, which I'm not going to touch because I hate mercenaries modes. Resident Evil 8 got a third person mode, and it got some DLC with one of the main character's daughter, who is a little more grown up now, called Shadows of Rose, which kind of continues on that story, what happens with her or whatever after the main game. So I played through that game again with third person to just kind of look around and
The whole game, you just played through all of 8?
yeah, that was only about 7-8 hours or something. Not too bad.
Only.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the DLC, I played the night after, and that was about 3 to 4 hours. That DLC is way better than I thought it would be, and probably
Okay.
deserves to be. That DLC is very, very cool. Uh,
Nice. That's good.
lore wise, it's, I mean, Resident Evil 7 and 8 are lore wise are kind of fucked anyway, but whatever. It continues on that story, which is cool. But the way they go about it is more of an evil within sort of thing where it's not that you are necessarily going to an area in the world and like seeing what is going on there or being stuck in an area like that. You're going through like the memories or like mind of a like hive mind sort of thing. And the evil within is kind of a similar thing of you going so weird dreamscapey things and like some surrealist stuff and whatever. It's cool. That game is super super cool. That DLC.
Does the DLC have a big lady?
No, it does not. It has a big
And what
boy.
is even the point?
It has a big chonker. It has the big lady's bathtub. That is that good?
Ugh.
Bathwater. I know gamers like that shit. So
I guess as a self-proclaimed gamer, I do have to purchase the bathwater.
yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of Resident Evil 8, you're probably already got it or like looking at it. If you're on the fence, you definitely should try it out. It's cool. That DLC is worth, I think, $20 or $30 price alone or whatever. And it's kind of cool to replay
Okay.
that game through the third person.
Is there more DLC coming, or is that the end of it?
I don't know. I think that's the end of it, but it's weird because when you finish off Resident Evil 8, it says like the father's story has ended or something weird like that. And then I was expecting, is it going to say that at the end of the DLC? But like, no. If anything, the DLC feels like it might be like the intro to Rose and like her story. So maybe she's going to play a bigger part going forward. Who knows?
Like maybe she's like the protagonist of 9.
The new protagonist or something. Yeah. Or like just a big part. Because she's only 16 in this DLC. So like she has a long way to go. And the interesting thing to think about is that Chris Redfield is still existing and alive in this world when she's 16. So he's got to be 60 something now. So I don't know that he's going to be on many more adventures himself. But yeah,
I mean,
it's
I'm
just
sure they
kinda
can
fun.
come up with a weird reason, like he took a stimulant and he's the
Yeah.
virus made him do this, but
Yeah,
whatever.
he smoked the herb or whatever. He smoked the
Yeah,
herb that gave him life again. Yeah, who
he's a
knows?
robot.
Oh man, if they put his brain into like a robot or something, that would be so good. Why not? Uh Oh, and I played Resident Evil Reverse. That thing still sucks. Nothing new to say about that.
Okay,
That's
right,
all I've been doing though.
cool. I much like what seems like everyone on the internet have been playing Marvel Snap.
Cool. Yep.
Um, I feel like every ad on Twitter is now Marvel Snap. Like they are clearly making money and they are putting it into advertising and promotion. Um, but yeah, no, that game is pretty fun. And it's not even in like a way where it's just like, yeah, the strategy is like so complex and like fun to get through these matches. It's more just like it is enjoyable enough for like just long enough where I'm like, yeah, I could play another one of those. Like
Yeah.
that was such a little bite size. Like these matches take maybe 3 minutes long.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I've been just kind of playing that, doing some dailies.
Yep.
Uh, the For those who don't know, Marvel Snap is basically like the card game War. But what's actually very interesting is instead of War where it's one on one, it's kind of there's 3 lanes, so you can put your cards down in one of 3 places. Each of those lanes has a modifier, and that's the interesting part.
Yeah.
Is those really kind of like make you come up with a strategy on the spot, and then based on how your deck plays, it's like, well, do I want to put it here, or do I want to move it to the second lane, or do I want to put it in the second lane and then move it to the third one later on because then I'll get an extra bonus or yada yada. I am a snap on the first turn person.
Oh wow. Okay. Sure. Why
Like
not?
I, I'm going in there and being like 1 cube. That's not gonna get me anything. 2 cubes. It's gonna take me forever to level up. So I'm just like, let's fucking go. You're either in this or you're not. Let's rock. I've yet to have someone retreat.
Yeah.
But I want to say I've probably won like 99% of my games. I'm only level like 25 ish.
So Snap does something weird where you don't actually play real people until like level 80.
Oh, so I'm just playing bots? Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of like hidden bots, and I think sometimes every now and then they'll throw a person in there, unless it
Okay.
changed. I played in like the closed beta months ago, so maybe there was less people.
I want to say that's. I mean, these names are really good, and like they're putting 69s in there.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Okay, yeah, maybe not then, because when I was playing, I didn't start seeing real people until like 40
like
to
I haven't heard
60.
that from like other podcasts talking about this. It sounds like it's. I don't know. Like there are definitely times where I can absolutely tell it's a bot.
Yeah.
Um, Other times, like I would have assumed it's humans. Maybe I'm just playing bots though. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't matter because like it's pretty seamless, I think, either way. I just know that when I played it, I didn't start seeing humans until about 40 to 60, somewhere in there.
So what made you think it was a human, or what was your tip off point?
Oh, they finally had the name like Big Splooger 69420 or something just
Okay,
absolutely
so I've been
stupid.
getting that from like the get go.
Okay, yeah. No, I haven't
So
been getting that.
I think they adjusted
I've
that
been getting
for the
things
full
like
release.
Seth. Like just names or whatever.
Yeah, the only ones that I've been like super like you can tell it's a bot because their name will be like um I mean like Spider-Man and the picture's also Spider-Man
Yeah.
and it's also a tutorial. So I think they definitely bring in humans almost from the get-go at this point.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. There are probably more people playing now. Their servers are
Yeah.
open more, so that makes sense.
This is it's on mobile. It's also on Steam, I understand. And I think I heard that if you are thinking of playing it, sign up through Google and not Facebook because I guess some of the like authentication of going back and forth on platforms with Facebook doesn't work super
Oh,
well, but if you do Google it's just fine. That was something that I heard from someone else, so that's what I did. Just
okay.
passing that little tip along.
Cool.
And then apart from that, I have been playing Shatter Remastered Deluxe
On
um,
PC?
on Xbox.
Oh, on Xbox. Okay, yeah.
So Shatter Remastered is the mobile version that was Netflix exclusive, and then
Yeah.
Deluxe is the full release, like console PC one.
Right.
I was kind of looking up how the name convention worked here.
Sure.
I mean, I believe this game is $10, and for that price, why wouldn't you pick it up? Like that is such a great price for what they're giving you. That soundtrack alone is worth $10 as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Um,
Sure.
so, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to spend too much longer with this. It is clearly like a nostalgia play for me, as I do think this is one of the best soundtracks of all time. I will say though, as someone who has been listening to this soundtrack for over a decade, when you play the game again, it's like, yeah, this is what I remembered. Like it's not as surprising as it once was, but of course, it's the first time is going to be the big deal. I
Hmm.
don't think this game looks as nice as I wish it did. Specifically, the backgrounds, they're kind of just like a solid gradient
Yeah.
or a solid color. And it's like, and I really wish that they had just like kind of like built more weird animations going on back there. And maybe they're trying to avoid making it too busy compared to the blocks that you're like, passing the ball back and forth with. But it really does kind of look like this was a PS3 game and we up-resed everything to 4K as opposed to like well, to be fair, it is a remaster. It's not a remake. I would
Yeah.
have just kind of loved some more like effects and stuff going on. Like, when it comes to puzzle games these days of a neon variety, like the most recent thing that really stands out to me is like Tetris Effect.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
that thing was just like particle effects all over. Like we're doing crazy stuff with it. This does feel a little inferior to it. But
Sure.
again, if you've never played Shatter, because you didn't play it back on the PC, although I think it's like $2 on Steam, you could still play that original one. You didn't play it back on the PS3. $10 gets you the new shiny one. That's such a great price. Like that's almost a Vampires Survivor level of like we just want to get this out there. Um, and I think $10 is absolutely what it's worth. I probably would have said you could easily charge $20 for this. So
Hmm.
yeah, that just came out this week, I believe. Because I've been playing it since last week. I got a code for that. But yeah, I'm about halfway through the story, and it is really great getting back to that.
Cool.
It's a fun game. Yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Nice.
Let's do some news. Starting with the big one, we got release date and pricing for the PSVR 2.
Oh. Okay.
PSVR 2 is launching February 22nd for $550, which is more than the PS5.
Yeah. I feel like John guessed that number. I mean, game of the year. We're going to go through that. I think
Go
that might
back
have
to
been
our
his
predictions.
prediction.
I definitely did not guess this high. I was saying like 400 because the idea of like it costing more than the PS5 seemed crazy to me, but they're
Sure.
putting a lot of tech in this. Like I don't know. Like I kind of went when I saw that price, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna get this when it first launches because like if it was a new console, yes, I paid 500 for my new consoles. That's a price point I was willing to do. This is an accessory,
Yeah.
or like that's a lot for an accessory. And when I look at the PSVR one, I did not play $550 worth of stuff, and this does not come in
Sure.
with a game. The first PSVR came with Astrobot.
Oh.
I got it on a deep discount. Like I paid like 200 for mine, and it also came with a couple bonus things. Um, this has no pack-in whatsoever. So
Hmm.
they are also going to be offering a Horizon Call of the Mountain bundle for an additional $50. That's $600.
Hmm.
So, which is also kind of revealing. I didn't know that Horizon VR game was going to be a $50 title. Um,
Hmm.
so you're even 550, you're going to have to pay more because you're going to want a game. So you're looking at close to 600 regardless.
Hmm.
They also are going to be selling a controller stand for the VR controllers. That's $50 if you wanted that.
It's definitely pricier than I thought it would be, but I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm very curious to see how these sell.
Yeah.
especially just kind of where we are. Not everyone's been able to get a PS5. They just raised the price on the PS5. I'm curious, but I think I'm gonna end up in the boat of like maybe I'll wait for that first Black Friday sale and try and get like $100 off or something like that because I don't think I can justify it.
Yeah.
Hopefully
It's
work gets one and I can just borrow that one.
yeah, for whatever you want to play, like the 3 games that you want to play on it.
Yeah. So speaking of the games, they did also really or announce the launch lineup. There's going to be 11 games.
Okay.
First off, the Dark Pictures Switchback VR. This is super
Okay.
massive.
Sure.
This is going to be similar to that Until Dawn game they
Yeah.
did, where it's like a roller coaster kind of ride. But I guess now it's set in the Dark Pictures universe.
Sure.
There's a Crossfire game coming from Smilegate. Something called the Light Brigade, Cities VR, Cities Skyline
Oh.
VR.
Okay.
Something called I don't know how you pronounce this.
Cosmonius High.
Cosmonius High. This is from Alchemy Labs.
Oh, weird.
So,
All right.
yeah. There's a Hello Neighbor game. Because of course
Sure.
there is. Some kind of Jurassic World game. Those movies are bad. Pistol Whip's coming. That's a very
That's a good game.
popular VR game
Yep.
for sure. Zenith, The Last City. I don't know what this is.
Okay.
After the Fall, I've definitely heard of that game.
After the
but,
Fall
not...
is think what the hell is it called? Left 4 Dead in VR.
Okay. Tentacular.
Okay. Yeah. Never heard of it.
So those are the 11 launch lineup games.
Okay.
Astrobot's not on there, man.
That's a bummer.
I'm sure they're probably working on something, but
yeah.
I was hoping like that would have been an absolute get immediately. I'm surprised there isn't like a Beat Saber, enhanced edition or something.
Oh,
like
sure.
I probably would have picked that up. I'm sure Beat Saber is going to get like ported over.
Yeah.
But that I could see them wanting to like resell it with like a new, get a full price on there somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe Moss 1 and 2, bundle them and then you could sell it again for full price. That would have been kind of cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Then of course Horizon Call of the Wild is also a launch lineup game.
Right.
Moving on. Here's kind of like a weird one, more kind of games industry focus. Popular Twitter account Nebellion, who people might know as some person who just posts a lot of game news the minute, if not before, it even got announced.
Some people might know him or them as the news section of TDP, which will now also be
a lot
closing.
of it, like they posted a lot of news, like yeah. Like, they're up there with if Wario 64 didn't post their deals,
yeah,
and it just stuck to the news, that's what Nebellion did.
Yes.
Nebellion came out this week and said, I'm done with Twitter.
Yeah, that's fair. I think a lot of us have been feeling that way for a few years, so I get it. For sure.
In the last few months, Nebellion had launched a Patreon just saying, hey, if you appreciate what I do, maybe it's a tip jar.
Yeah.
And he had like 985 backers. He had 2 tiers, 1 and 3. So they were making at least probably $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
They didn't have their number on the Patreon. They had the number of backers.
Yeah.
So, but they came out and just said, like, this is not worth my time. They straight up said, this is the end of my video game coverage. I'm gonna go do something else. So they're just out. They are done.
That's fair.
They also cite that like Elon Musk taking over Twitter has also just made them like not interested in the platform, which I can understand.
I mean, I guess Elon Musk hasn't done anything but be a fucking moron, but I get it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So like if there's a couple quotes here, I do not trust the platform. I do not trust Musk and his seemingly infinite immaturity. I do not think Twitter will fall apart instantly, but that it could die a slow death. Why waste more time?
Sure.
they went ahead and locked their account so that no one could like re-get the name and just kind of mess around
Smart.
with people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the problem: is that Musk is allowing people to get a verified badge for $8. So
$8 a
somebody
month, I
will
guess, yeah.
inevitably make nibble or nibble with like an L as an I or something, and then pay the $8 and start just saying probably horrendous shit. So I don't think it matters at this point.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Like, either way, it is kind of a bummer. Like, this person posted good news. They were a reliable source. They seemed, knowledgeable. Their takes seemed interesting,
Sure.
and they would put their own perspective on stuff. It's a bummer to see them go, but you can't fault them, and I wish them the best in not having to be awake 24/7 covering video game news.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, seems like they wanted to do this, so good for them. I think sometimes it could maybe be hard to walk away from something when you've been doing it for a long time. So
Sure.
good for them for just deciding, no, it's time. I'm done.
Going back to PlayStation, PlayStation Plus has lost 1.9 million subscribers since its relaunch.
Okay.
The relaunch being when they brought out the new tier service. They did their Game Pass equivalent strategy. They will, however, they did also mention. So the users went down. It went down from 103 million to 102 million. But PlayStation Plus subscription revenue actually increased by 10%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which would make sense because they introduced the higher tiers. So
Yep.
although they have less subscribers, the subscribers they do have on average are paying more than what they were beforehand with those other more people. Some quotes from like why this might be is they mentioned they did not push their subscription service as hard during the second half of the year as planned. I'm also going to editorialize and say you came out with a Game Pass competitor that was far inferior to Game Pass.
Yep.
So no shit, this didn't land very well. We were saying that over and over as we were like talking about the details. Is how do you not come out swinging?
Yep. Yeah.
Kind of interesting to see. On the other side of the fence, over on the Xbox side, we got some more kind of financial numbers, and we learned that on each console, so the Series X, Microsoft is losing around $100.
Okay.
Eating that cost. Series S, they're losing up to $200.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I can see that, like they're eating that cost. Like the Series S is a bargain.
Yeah.
Like, holy smokes. I have a Series S. It's awesome. Like, if you're able to get you don't need a backup Xbox for your primary Xbox, but when you have one that's so cute like that, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that also just kind of goes to show how confident they are in Game Pass. If you're subscribing to Game Pass, and let's not even include like Ultimate, so you get the PC, let's just include the $10 a month. That's $120 a year.
Yeah.
That's going to cover the Series X cost, right? That's going to cover more than half of the Series S cost.
Yeah.
So, that just shows also kind of what Microsoft can do, how much money they have in the bank to be able to do that. It also kind of, underscores what Phil Spencer was saying last week, that he could see them having to raise prices in the future after this holiday season, which makes sense if they're losing this much, and it's only going to be getting worse with like inflation and with where the economy's at.
I'm going to piggyback off this news real quick and say also for Twitch, there's a deal going on right now where if you gift or subscribe to a channel 2 new subs or 2 gift subs or something like that, look it up or Google it just so you can find out
It's
for sure.
2. Yep.
It's 2. They'll give you 3 months of PC Game Pass trial. So that's pretty good.
That's right. Yeah.
What is that, like a $30 deal for $10 total through Twitch subs? Pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, continuing on. Spry Fox the developers behind their biggest success was probably like Cozy Grove, and they're working on Cozy Grove 2, has
Sure.
been purchased by Netflix Games.
Okay. I like Spry Fox quite a bit. I've played a lot of. They have, what are they called? Alpha Bears is one of them. They have like all these
That's another one. Yeah,
Tiny
they do a
Town
lot of popular
mobile
mobile
games.
games.
Yeah. I actually talked to somebody that worked at Spry Fox a while back. But yeah, no, I like them quite a bit. This makes sense. They seem like a Netflix games type of, like either them or Zynga or something. So I'm glad that Netflix got them.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. Netflix games is kind of getting to the point where I'm having a hard time making fun of them because they're actually getting some pretty good games in there that
Yeah,
I'm just getting for free because I happen to have a Netflix subscription. So,
yeah,
um,
for sure.
they came out with a quick statement talking about the acquisition. They seem pretty positive, but I mean, of course, they're going to say that immediately upon getting acquired. That's how it usually works. No one's going to be like, "Please save us." Oh God, half our studio quit in retaliation. Um, like a couple of things that they pointed out, we can continue making games that we were already making and wanted to make, but with more support and resources to make those games better and bring them to more people around the world. We can stop stressing about how our games generate profit on our games and instead focus exclusively on making them as enjoyable and fulfilling to our players as possible. We can collect.
Cool. Yeah, yeah, they're real games.
Into the Breach is put on there. They didn't add any free to play mechanics.
Yeah.
And then here's the sad story about when you get acquired. So how do you pronounce this? Onoma? What was used to be not Eidos Montreal. What used to be Square Enix Montreal.
Yes.
Was
Yep.
They were acquired by Embracer Group. They changed the name to Onoma. This was the studio behind like Lara Croft Go, Hitman Go, a lot of these mobile games has been shut down. About 200 people were affected. Some of them were getting transitioned over to Eidos Montreal to get their job title transferred over to Eidos Montreal. But majority of the studio has been laid off as they've made a pivot from no longer wanting to work on mobile games and focusing specifically on console and PC. So this is definitely a bummer. It's also weird that like they went through this whole name change and strategy just to so quickly like then shut down the studio. I'm not sure how those things can be so close together. You'd think there would be a little more buffer room to like implement the strategy and see how it goes, but maybe it just like tanked immediately in some way.
Yeah. Weird.
Part of this report that came out of Bloomberg, Eidos Montreal is working on a new Deus Ex game that is, quote, very, very early in development.
Okay.
And apparently they're co-developing the new Fable
Oh. Okay.
alongside Playground Games.
Hmm.
Which I'm not surprised. I mean, it's not the first time Microsoft has like co-developed one of those titles. What's the one that Perfect Dark is being co-developed with? Called The Initiative? Is that the studio?
I think so. That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we saw that we're seeing that with Perfect Dark. Now we're seeing it with Fable. But the best to the remainder and hope those other people land on their feet.
Totally.
Probably end up at like Ubisoft if they're in Montreal.
Yeah, probably.
All right, here's one that just perked my ears specifically up. So, Siphon Filter got rated in Korea.
Okay.
Siphon Filter 3 specifically.
Yeah.
More importantly, a game called Ghost Trick also got rated in Korea.
I mean, that's very good. Siphon Filter is fantastic, so there's no most importantly here.
Most importantly, Ghost Trick got
No,
rated
fuck Ghost
in...
Trick.
Have you played Ghost Trick?
Yes, I have.
No. And you don't like it?
No, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine. They're both fine, is what I'm saying.
I would absolutely love a re-release of Ghost Trick on something more modern than the DS. But
Yeah, the fact that it hasn't been made for something is actually insane.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I
now it
think
will be.
in Japan, I think it was on mobile. The adventure game originally launched on the DS, and followed by North America. An iOS version via the App Store in Japan. Yeah. So, oh,
Of
and
course.
no, worldwide. That's true. You know, now
Was
I
it?
remember it. I actually did. I did have it on my phone,
Oh,
so I
really?
completely forgot about that. Yeah, I think there was a whole thing where like, and then one of the iOSs like made it break, and people were like, "Can you finally fix it?" And it took like forever for them to like finally like bring it up to current stuff. I don't know where it is currently. I should see. Is it still in the App Store? A little
Weird.
bit of real time research here, but
Yeah.
I would love that. Just like put it on Steam, put that on my Steam Deck.
Like, put it on
Ghost
everything
Trick,
that can run it. Why not?
yeah, sure. Ghost Trick is absolutely
On iOS?
on iOS. There's also something here called Ghost Detector Talk to Spirits, and the spirit in the image looks like a baby. My
Yeah.
mom and dad called me their cutie Bob.
What? Okay.
What? And then the next screenshot has the baby saying, "Because of electric, dot, dot, dot." What happened with electric and this baby?
Okay, then.
I mean, this thing's got a 4.3 star rating, 10,000 ratings. So, like, you might want to joke around, but 10,000 people think this game's pretty good.
Yeah. That seems that seems high
Okay.
for
I've
yeah.
only read the first half a sentence of this review, but I'm just going to read it for you. This is from a year ago.
Okay.
4 out of 5 stars. Oh, heck no, but also cool. Then like a crying emoji, then like a curious emoji. Okay.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
exactly 15 different ghosts in my house.
That feeling when the reviews are more entertaining than the actual
Yesterday,
product.
I started to think it was fake, but I really didn't want to think that since I believed it. And tonight, it's 12 a.m. I got a notification that I have a missed call from this app. I was confused. I didn't know you got calls from them, all caps. It said it was from a friendly spirit, and when I checked, I guess that spirit left, but there was a dead deer that is now a ghost, and one of the deers from my neighborhood apparently got hit by a car 2 days ago because it was, this is all one sentence, by the way, because it was in the road. It was the same deer I saw when I was walking. I didn't really think that animals could be ghosts for some reason, but I couldn't believe what I saw, a deer. But then it said it was out of sensor, and I turned it and it was right next to me,
Oh
about
shit.
9 inches away from where I am. One of the ghosts is a little boy and a little girl.
Oh. I'm I don't
And
want
a
this app.
woman and a teenage girl and a man from what looks like the 1970s to 2010.
What?
Then someone who looked like my great 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 uncle. Search up Edward Wilmot and click the first and only person you see. But I gave this 4 stars because I think you should make it to where you get 20 questions for no pay for a week. Not 20 every day, just 20 for that whole week. I don't think a deer will respond.
Uh I I think human beings aren't meant to know something, so I don't think people should download this app. It sounds too scary. It's better to
Four
not
to
know.
5 stars. All right, Discord integration with PlayStation is coming March 2023.
All right.
For them, Xbox already has quite the integration. I'm surprised it's taken PlayStation this long, but that just makes sense.
Sure.
And to close the book, I'm assuming,
Oh no. Okay.
um, we reported about the Bayonetta voice actor, the going back and forth. We didn't really know where to land. Um, I kind of felt like we were starting to see that she was lying, so it wasn't looking good for her. Would you say that's accurate?
I mean, sorry. I started reading this thing, but I'm not going to read it because I'm getting distracted. The last I heard about this, it sounded like she was lying by omission, really. Like, she wasn't directly telling fibs, but she was leaving out, like, important things. Like, well, they did offer me, like,
No, because she had been saying numbers that were incorrect. Then the numbers were like reported, and then she was like, "Okay, well, yeah, but." So there was some weird thing. I'm like, wait, now there's holes in your story because you said different
yeah,
numbers.
sure.
I'll read the tweet from Jason Schreier here, who kind of put together a lot of this reporting. Former
Okay.
Bayonetta actress Helena Taylor, who asked fans to boycott Bayonetta 3 in a video that was later proven to be misleading, has posted a list of charities to which she would like fans to instead donate. The list includes a Kentucky group that runs anti-abortion billboards.
Weird. Okay.
I'm assuming I haven't heard her respond in any way. I'm assuming she is just like going to stay quiet at this point, and hopefully this is the end of it.
If she has, like, she seems probably too small for, like, a handler or something. Probably an assistant, though. I'm sure she's been told, like, you got to stop. You're
I mean, I
killing
don't know
your
if she has an
career.
assistant. She definitely has a manager. Like
Yeah, yeah.
she will have someone that like books her to do work.
Sure.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
they finally went in and were like, "This is the end of it. You now need to
You need to
be
stop.
quiet because this is going to damage your like future jobs
Yeah.
opportunities."
Hmm.
Just weird, like super weird. Also, you know what's odd? I have noticed like no one is talking about Bayonetta 3. That thing just came and went so quickly, and I don't know if it's just my circle of influence, but
I just opened up, like, the thread of her saying a bunch of stuff. She seems maybe, like, manic or something. Like, this is kind of weird. I hope she's, like, okay mentally. I mean, like, genuinely. I know that sounds kind of like
absolutely,
a
for sure.
jab, but
Oh no, for sure.
yeah, because I'm, like, looking at this thread here, and I've seen this before in people with a manic episode. And so I just hope she's okay and that she didn't, like, actually kill her career somehow.
Of course, yes. But I will also go out and say don't donate to anti-abortion
No, donate to
groups.
whoever you want. I don't care about that. That's not my problem. What is maybe don't listen to people that are having an episode of some sort in general. This is weird. And to go back to your other point, I agree. Nobody's talking about Bayonetta 3 except for, like, one person that I kind of watch sometimes, and he said it's great. But otherwise, no one else has said a word about it. So,
Yeah, I followed the reviews when they came out. They were like pretty positive, and then like after like 2 days, it's like silence.
yeah.
Like, that thing just came and went. Weird,
I wonder if it
considering like how
actually
long people were
is
waiting for.
good. I wonder if John is gonna play it, because I know John likes those games and he's usually a pretty good sounding board for that sort of thing. So I'd be interested to see what he says
I
about it
mean,
when he plays it.
I was looking forward to it. I liked what I had played in like demos at shows. I played it at
Okay.
PAX West. Um, the only reason I hadn't picked it up is so much stuff came out that I had to just say like, don't,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
throwing money away at this point. Just like wait.
Yeah. Like, I'd like to think that I get a chance to maybe at least try it for Game of the Year talks, but I don't honestly know that that's gonna happen because I'd like to play it too at some point.
There's a lot out there, absolutely. So let's do some questions. If you would like to send a question into the show, topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel. John's P.O. Box is another great way to ensure that no matter what you send will get read, as long as it's not offensive, obviously.
Yeah, please. Please don't do that.
Um, and you could sound just like Kevin, who writes, "What's the best Western video game? Western like genre setting, not where the game was made."
I'm broken because the first thing that came in my head is Mad Dog McCree games, and those are not that, like, no, those are not the good Western, but they are the FMV, like, well, howdy partner sort of thing that you can, like, point the light gun at the screen.
Absolutely. And to pick you up, I was about to say the Gunstringer.
Gunstringer's really good. Yeah, that's a
which
good
is
game.
very good, and that's that's kind of like a version of those kind of ones for sure. That was Twisted Pixel, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, back
For
before they
yeah,
only made VR games.
yeah. Um, I'm I'm gonna go. I guess I'll be the guy on record and say I don't like Red Dead Redemption 2, like basically at all.
I like Red Dead Redemption 2.
I definitely think that it is. If you're looking for a Western game, that's one that you should probably be thinking about or on your list for sure. Uh, I like Call of Juarez Gunslinger just based on like how they tell the story in that.
I was gonna mention that one too. I think that game plays really well
It
as
does.
well. Like
Yeah.
that dodge roll is really good. So that was the first one that kind of came to my mind was Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Um, but I mean, like even if you don't like Red Dead, I think you have to still maybe you don't have to. I think it's hard to like not respect those two games because they are just like landmarks in like visual fidelity and like systems in play. Like they are kind of awe-inspiring
Oh, for sure.
from a scale point. Yeah.
My thing is that I kind of don't like the Western setting in general usually, and those are um okay. I like Western stuff okay enough if it's doing something else with it. Like I like horror westerns or dark westerns sort of settings or whatever. I don't. The Red Dead games are very like they're arcadey, obviously, but they're trying to simulate that place and time. They are period pieces that are very correct in a lot of ways, and I don't care about that stuff. But if you
I mean,
do, they're like masterclass in that for sure.
I mean, I like the storytelling in those games. Like, I didn't do a ton of the side quest stuff. I just went through the story because that was long enough. But I think they
Yeah,
tell those stories really well, and there's some great moments that I just will like. I'll always remember the ending of Red Dead Redemption
sure.
because it's
Yeah,
very cool. Um, Same with Red Dead 2. Like that has a very cool like final mission. Um, there are definitely moments from those stories I'll definitely remember. And then like it's a Rockstar game, so like the way they tell it and present it is there's a level of like cinematic quality that not a lot of other games
movie
have.
like
So
yeah,
yeah.
sure.
What about Gun?
I mean, I wouldn't recommend that, but it's okay.
What about Wet?
No,
That's like quasi Western, isn't it?
I don't remember. I
Yeah, I'm
from the
pretty sure
chat,
it
New
is.
Vegas. Sure, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good suggestion. It has
Is there
that aesthetic.
cowboys in that one?
Well, like wasteland cowboys. Sure.
Because if you're going like apocalyptic wasteland, I feel like you are now in a different. You are venturing now into sci-fi as opposed to Western.
New Vegas is pretty deserty though. Like it's probably the closest you can get without going over the line, I
Well,
think.
so that to that point, like if desert is kind of the main thing, would you consider like Rage a Western
Rage. Yeah, in some ways, sure.
or Borderlands?
Um
Borderlands 1. Those are both kind of like in
yeah,
the
kind
desert
of.
wasteland, right?
I like we're getting further and further away on the spectrum, but yeah, I'd say they're
I have a
similar.
hard time thinking it's a Western if there are not cowboys.
Okay, see for me the kind of ideal is you having a posse and like doing some robberies or doing some loots, grabbings, like that stuff. I don't know.
Okay, what about the movie Mad Max Fury Road? Or any Mad Max, I guess, at this point.
Uh, yeah, that might be over the line for me, but I can't tell. We've
I mean, Mad
definitely
Max is
got
pretty close to Borderlands. Like they were straight up spoofing
yeah.
off of it, right?
We've completely. I think the problem with that for me is that the cars play such a heavy role. If they were using revolvers only or something, maybe.
Okay. I mean, I don't think you need to have revolvers. Like even Red Dead, like they have
Yeah,
like rail. They don't have rail guns, but they have like machine guns and they have rifles and stuff.
yeah, the like
Um,
Remingtons and stuff like that. Yeah,
there's Yetis.
yeah. There's a good amount of Western genre type games or whatever. Jedi Jack of all trades writes, based on all the corporate malpractice news you've heard of in the game industry, where do you rank the video game business in terms of corruption compared to other entertainment industries, film, music, sports, etc.? I mean, where people can make money, there's going to be corruption. So,
yeah, no, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. This is a hard question for me because since I don't follow those other
yeah,
industries anywhere near as closely, I don't know a lot of the behind the scenes. I definitely hear a bit about film and TV because a lot of the kind of like fandom does overlap. I couldn't tell you like anything about sports or music. Um,
I think okay, the way I'm going to rank them, and I'll give my reasoning after. Game industry's worst, followed by film/TV, followed by sports, followed by music, and it's just the amount of people that get screwed. Because in the game industry, you have like a few hundred people working on a thing can get fucked over. Same with film or whatever.
yeah, I
Music and
think I
sports,
might
it gets less.
actually might have flip it a bit. I bet there is more. I bet it's actually a pretty simple thing.
Mhm.
Whichever one is bringing in more money
Has more
is going to
corruption.
be more corrupt. So that's why I'm
Sure.
going to be like, sports has to be the most corrupt.
I mean, maybe, but it benefits or fucks over less people, is what I'm thinking.
Well, so then, like, what are we considering sports? Is it just like the team, or is it anything that is associated with the sports? Is it like sports betting? Is it advertisers for sports? Is it,
Oh, I see what you
you know
mean.
what I mean? Like sports is so huge; it can encompass a lot of things,
I
right?
feel
Same with
like
like
betting might
music.
be
Like
its
what?
own industry. Well, if betting's its own industry, that's the most corrupt. Just straight up.
Because if you get into film and TV, it's like, well,
Yeah,
sure, there's actors, there's people that are currently there on set, but there's also like production houses, visual effects studios that get brought in and
yeah,
screwed over. Like, there's a lot of facets to everything. At least with the video game one, for the most part, it's like when we see something happening, it is kind of isolated to that studio a lot of the time. Or there is at least an umbrella under a name. Like I can be like Activision has a problem, and all of their little studios within it kind of have the same problem. Whereas, like I feel like the other ones, do they just feel more widespread? And that could just be though because I don't know enough, so
yeah.
it feels that way.
That's the problem, is that it's hard to rank these without having the breadth of knowledge and the other stuff as we do in the video game side.
I think I would still just assume though, because sports brings in so much money, there has to be more corruption there.
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to tell. Would think anyway.
All right, this next one I had to leave it in the Discord,
Okay.
otherwise I would have been spoiled. But I will read this next one from Suku Suku. It says, "Blast from the past question: favorite video game soundtracks of all time? How have your tastes changed in 11 years? First asked in 2011." They have me, John, and Nathan's answer.
Right. I wasn't. Well, I was around, but not here doing this in
Not on the
2011.
show, yes. So I'm going to assume I said Shatter.
Was
That's the only thing that sticks out to me,
was
and I would have played it
Burnout
by this point.
there?
I would not have said
You
Burnout.
don't think so? Okay.
Although the length of these answers makes me think it's more than just Shatter, but um, just for fun, do you want to take a guess what Nathan or John said?
So I have some go-tos for Nathan. Deadly Premonition around that time is kind of like, I don't remember if it was even out at that time or if it was
It
2013.
was. No, that thing came out in 2010.
2010? Okay. I definitely think Deadly Premonition. Nathan has this thing where he's kind of like a homing missile, and when he likes something, he homes in on it for a while. So
Okay.
that was his target for a few years in my mind. So that might
Okay.
be one. John. Uh I think John
Only I
might
can
have
think of is maybe he said like a Mega Man or a Street Fighter game. But I have no idea.
yeah, those would make sense. I was thinking like a Castlevania maybe
Okay.
as well.
Let's see what we said. I put a whole bunch of stuff. So I said Shatter, Super Meat Boy, Scott Pilgrim,
Oh,
DVV,
yeah.
and Pac-Man Championship Edition DX. So looking at this, if I was to say like how things changed, this is a lot of electronic music, it's a lot of chiptune,
Yeah.
which is fine. I don't listen to that as much as I definitely did back then. Back then I was kind of like seeking it out a lot. Um, So I would say I'm just kind of a bit out of that phase, but I would not say I dislike it in any way.
Sure.
John, we were way off.
Okay.
He said Bionic Commando Rearmed. Yes, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
He then said Silent Hill,
That's out of character. Okay.
Contra, Shattered Soldier.
Oh, weird. Wow. Oh, I bet
And
that was a
then
conversation of this is the only good thing about that game or something.
and he also agreed with Sean's picks.
I mean, yeah, those are solid picks.
So Nathan answered Deadly Premonition and
Yeah.
some of Sean's picks.
Dude, like, it's
Way to
just one of
go.
those things that when you've talked to Nathan so much, you can just tell, like, what era of Nathan was this? Because I was thinking that's too early for Rise of the Planet of the Apes, so it's probably Deadly Premonition.
I mean, but like the year, I would have assumed by like a whole year passing, he would have moved on. Also, like when I think back to that soundtrack, it's like, okay, it has like the one song that's just silly. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else either.
All right,
Okay.
you're up. This
Phantom Aegis writes, Ahoy TDP crew, would you rather have a 1/6 scale statue of yourself in any pose you want or a 30-inch plushie of yourself? Like a plushie,
so
I
I'm
guess.
trying to think, what is 1/6 a scale in terms of inches?
Oh, yeah. Well, 1/6, that's like a foot, right?
Yeah, 'cause and I happen to be exactly 6 foot tall, so yeah, duh.
Yeah.
So that would be 12 inches. So I got a 12-inch statue of myself or a 30-inch plushie.
Oh, when
I'm
you
gonna go
put
with
it
the
in those
statue.
terms. Yeah, I think I would too, just because that's too much room otherwise.
Well, also I just think like, am I into figurines more than I'm into stuffed animals? And I would say probably I am. I don't really have both, but if I was going to get something, I think I would prefer a figurine. Also, if I could put it in any pose I want, I could find something silly. Whereas the stuffy's probably just like, I'm T-posing or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree just because it would
Any,
take up less room.
any idea what pose you'd pick?
Probably something with my, like, hands on my head or something just because I think it's funny. It's like a T pose,
Okay.
but with stress added.
I see. Okay. What would I do? Like I could go simple and just do like a dab.
Oh, dab's good. Dab's real good. Yeah.
I might just like, sitting down cross legs, just like with like a thumbs up. I wouldn't mind that. And then just, put that like on my desk and then it's just like, oh, look at that guy. He's just a little dude. Okay. BTC Kenny writes, if you had to design the ideal game for your co-hosts, how would you do it? And then he kind of gives us how we should do it. But there's two of us, so I'm going to design it for you and you're going to design it for me.
Okay, sure.
So the ideal game for you. So it's going to have to be a spooky game.
Sure. Okay.
I guess at some point they need to say Jill Sandwich. I don't know why, but
that's not
I
true,
feel
but
like
okay.
that needs to be there. Yeah, see, I don't know if it's like I'm trying to think like would you prefer like a pixel art style or would you prefer like, 3D models that are like highly detailed?
Sure. Yeah.
Then obviously you have to control it with a DDR pad.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Obviously.
I don't know. All I could think of is just make a Resident Evil clone.
I mean, yeah. How much do you want for it? I have exactly this much in my account. Take what you need.
It's a Resident Evil clone with Metroidvania elements.
Totally. Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah.
mean, if man, John would have been so much easier to design for because his would be like a Metroidvania with something else.
Yeah, it would have been a side-scrolling platformer, like definitely pixel art.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only difficulty options you can pick are hard or harder.
Yeah. I would
I don't even know.
probably
I'm
make
trying to think what I would pick for myself.
so I would make you a platformer for sure. double jump right from the get-go, of course.
Of course. I mean, even I'm gonna put a double jump in your Resident Evil clone.
I'm gonna put a double jump in John's game too. Everybody gets
Visual
a double
novel,
jump.
double jump. Like, just give him a double jump.
In fact, it's gonna be a game where every time you get another power up, it's just adding another jump you could utilize if you wanted to.
I don't know about that. See, the problem with giving you too many jumps is then it takes away, like, because like if you're doing
Then
so
it's
many
just
jumps,
you're flying.
exactly. It's like you're not jumping anymore, and it kind of trivializes the double jump.
What
whereas
it
the double
actually
jump
is
needs to-
Flappy Bird at that point.
Yeah, sure.
I'd probably give you some weird, like, self-referential thing. You know what? I'd give you, like, a good Matt Hazard, basically. But for a more
Okay.
modern age.
So would that just be kind of okay? No, I was thinking like Stanley Parable, but no, Matt Hazard would be more action. But you mean in terms of the self-referential part?
Self-referential, and, like, every stage is maybe kind of riffing on a different game genre or something. Like, something that gives you variety, like every stage sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, putting a bunch of genres in there is a total cop-out answer, but even I was having a problem thinking of, like, I don't even know what I would want though as like my ideal game, because I can't think of, like, I don't have like a favorite genre or whatever. Because
Yeah.
I think, like, I play a lot of visual novels, I play a lot of tactics games, I play a lot of platformers, I play a lot of rhythm games, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm much like an ogre or an onion, I have a lot of layers to my gaming. So
To your gaming onion.
So maybe just do none. Just give me like a sports game. Just cancel everything out.
Yeah. It's actually just like American football with a double jump.
Honestly, that sounds like the best football I've yet to see.
I would play it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be very good.
All right. Dead right. What was your first big gaming disappointment?
This is hard remembering back that far. Maybe I remember, like, I got Metroid 2 for the Game Boy, and that game is so hard and just confusing that I barely played it.
Sure.
And I don't even, like, specifically remember being, like, upset at it, but I could just imagine, like, with how few games I was getting back then, that getting one that I wasn't able to play much of probably sucked.
So, I grew an appreciation for this game where I think it's okay. But that first NES Ninja Turtles game, man, when you're a kid and you love the Ninja Turtles and then you're playing that's a fucking bummer.
I'm lucky because my first Ninja Turtles was the arcade one.
Was a good one. Yeah. I mean, literally every other one has been a decent one of those.
Like an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bummer. Sure.
Yep.
Last question from Rasterman. Tips for staying awake at a party that goes from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Oh, cocaine.
What is this? What is this party? Like,
it's a coke party.
This is a crazy part. Who is partying that late? Why? I'm curious why this party has to go until 6 a.m. Like,
so what this sounds like is actually, what's a tip for staying awake during my 10-hour shift? Because that's like the night shift, right? 8 to 6 or something.
Well, so like, what is the scenario where this person knows we are going to be partying until 6 a.m.? Like, how do you, like, all I could think is this, like, we're going to watch these like 8 movies and just doing the math, we're not going to be done until 6 a.m. Like, how do they know that the party ends at 6 a.m.?
Right.
Like, when I go to a party, it's like, there isn't like a set end time, but it probably isn't going that far past like 2 at the latest. Like, maybe there's a few people straggling around, but in terms of like the main group.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, ways to stay awake. I guess it's just, how do you stay awake in general is kind of the question. Never let yourself get comfortable.
All right, here's the thing. If you know for some reason that you're at this party for 10 hours, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., because it's scheduled, maybe like a night shift that you're not telling me about, you should probably have your sleep schedule, like, reflect as such
flipped.
if possible.
Yeah. Clearly, they can't do that. So they need tips. Like, for all we know, they're at the party right now, and they need tips because they're about to fall asleep.
Yeah.
I like, don't sit down.
They're at the party right now. Help me,
I think you,
TDP.
yeah, exactly. I don't think you can sit down. You cannot allow yourself to get comfortable. You must constantly find someone, and maybe you guys can like work off each other. You can tag team this.
Yeah.
Not only like, in the idea of like, well, we can get each other out, but physically in terms of like when you go to tag this person, you will slap them in the face and they will slap you in the face. And like throughout the night, keep the adrenaline up. Don't go to sleep. And every 15 minutes, I'm going to slap you as hard as I can.
Yeah. Blue light is apparently supposed to be like really good at making your brain work harder to rest. So maybe look at your phone like periodically and just like
You got to make
scroll
sure your
through some
phone
stuff.
doesn't go into like night shift automatically.
Mine does,
do that
so
at
I would
9
have to
p.m.
turn it
Yeah,
off.
exactly. Yeah.
But like that's kind of a weird like physiological thing now that growing up I didn't have really.
Eat a whole clove of garlic.
Yeah, also it keeps the vampires away, and 8 to 6 is their witching hour.
I did that at a party once, on like a challenge.
Yeah.
And like that messed me up for hours. Like, I could not brush my teeth enough that for like 2 days.
Yeah, that's definitely too much. I do love me some garlic, but that is too much. Yep.
It is absolutely too much. But I mean, that'll wake you up for a bit. Like, look, so it's 10 hours. You come up with like 10 solid suggestions that can last you an hour each. I think you could do it.
Yeah. Something that always
I don't
wakes
know.
me up is if I'm starting to feel a little sleepy or whatever, going outside, especially when it's a bit colder, getting some fresh air, and like if I have to like do a small drive home like from work or something, that usually wakes me up a decent amount too.
I was gonna say, hang on. No, if you're getting tired, don't drive.
Yeah. Well,
That is not a good idea.
no. Yeah, like if you're at a party. Well, if you're at a party or something, you probably can't drive anyway. You should go outside and get fresh air probably though.
Yeah, like the best ways I've stayed awake for this long that come to mind is like when I was on a plane, but I had so much stimuli that did not make me think it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah.
That I barely even like had to worry about it. But if you're like, if you're actually at a house party, you are going to see it dark outside, and I would assume even going outside is going to be like, oh, it is time to fall asleep. I'm going to sleep right here in the snow. Good night.
Yeah.
And then you never wake up.
Yeah, keep lights on. Try to make it seem like it's daytime still by like closing the windows, and or at least like that you can't tell what time it is.
Don't drink any booze. That's a good one in the chat. Yeah, that'll put you to sleep.
Or drink so much booze.
No, because if you drink so much booze, you're gonna pass out. I do not think there's like it doesn't wrap around full circle. I think it is a parabola that slams into the ground hard, and that's your head hitting the floor.
Sure. I don't know. Depending on like how you are personally, caffeine and sugar can help.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel like shit after.
I don't think we said anything better than slap someone and have them slap you.
Yeah, just slap each other a few times.
I can say, for my entire life, I have never slept through a slap.
Yeah.
So, anyway, hopefully we gave you 10 suggestions that give you an hour each.
Yeah.
And good luck surviving this nightmare of a party.
Good
you know what?
Don't
go to this party. Go to a different party, or go to the party at 8 p.m. and then go home at like midnight. Like, that seems like that 4 hours at a party. That's a lot of party.
He can't though, because this is obviously a shift. So have fun at your quote unquote party.
This person wished for an awesome party, and then the monkey paw curled and said, "Okay, but it's from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. and you can't leave." This is a scary. This is a Freaky Stories-esque like Crypt Keeper story, and it's like, and the person died dancing. They partied to death.
Right,
This
yeah.
is a worm. This is a Slurms Mackenzie scenario where this person cannot party anymore because they've partied for decades and they're so tired.
Yeah, same.
That's going to do it for questions. If you want to send in questions for next week, topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. What is the best game you played this week?
Oh. I'll give it to the DLC Shadows of Rose. That was really good. Solid.
I'm going to give it to Marvel Snap.
Nice.
Stay tuned for next week when there will be another episode of this podcast, believe it or not.
Yeah.
See you guys then.
Bye.